Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Quick update today on this build of the Springside models 18-inch gauge works loco in 09, so that's 7mm to the foot scale, running on 9mm gauge track. The 9mm gauge is a little oversized sorry, for 18mm, but it's close enough. And as I mentioned in the previous video, this is a new scale gauge combination for me, so this is it's an interesting aside. I have, since the last video, I did mention I'd put up in the previous video I said I'd put up a picture of the Loco that I'm building, the one that the actual prototype, as there's one in the National Railway Museum. I couldn't find it when I did the last video, but it has since turned up, so I will try and put that here. But yeah, it's a tiny little thing. And in the previous video, I just got the chassis shortened and set up ready, but I've now started to glue together the body. So as I said, this is all kind of white metal castings. You've got 5 pieces here. You've got 2 for the boiler that went together, front and back of the boiler and the footplate. And it's all gone together pretty straightforward, really. It will need some filler, but everything else, but there's no real, everything seems to line up. There's no real issues. So the 2 parts of the boiler went together quite nicely. I glued the back, well, I glued the 2 ends onto the footplate before fitting the boiler, and the weight inside the boiler. That was partly because I found that it was easy to get this back one to stay upright and in position with the chassis in place, because it kind of wedges in a slot. So I did that one, and then the front one again, you can kind of keep it upright against. It kind of glues in behind these 2 pieces, so you end up with like brackets at the front. And again, it was fairly easy to get that in position. And then I glued the boiler in between the 2, and it fitted perfectly. And as I say, it's got the weight inside the front. So that gives you a better idea of kind of size now. As I say, the figure will stand on the back, and it's a lot heavier. I mean, the chassis weighs pretty much nothing in comparison to this lump of white metal. As you can just about see, there's the weight in the front there that we talked about last time. So this thing's heavy, but it slots straight on the top of the model with no issues, and it runs really nicely. I'll stick a video here while I'm talking. Yeah, I mean, you saw in the previous video it was a bit hesitant without the body on. Without the original Loco body on, partly because just the chassis is now really light. But with this body on so far, the extra weight, it's also already running really nicely in comparison. I can do some slower speed running as well, but previously I was having to be quite hard on the voltage, because otherwise it would just stutter and stop because it didn't have enough traction because of the weight. But with this on, it's running really nicely. So yeah, it's just going to be a question of carrying on building up the details. I don't think it's going to take huge amounts of time. I mean, there are quite a lot of pieces in the kit, but a lot of them are kind of quite big and chunky, and just kind of, you know, you get 4 or 5 of them together and they just go on and it comes together. As I say, there's 5 pieces here and it all came together within a few minutes, really. I went with the super glue in the end rather than the epoxy, just because, yeah, I decided it was going to be way easier to hold everything in place. But yeah, so far really happy with that. Yeah, I mean, I wanted something that was nice and quick and a bit of a break from some of the bigger models and more complicated builds that I've done in the past, and having a chassis that I don't have to do much to is a nice starting point to that. And as I say, white metal kits can be a bit of an issue depending on how well the parts fit together and how old the molds are and everything, but this one seems pretty good so far. As I say, it all just kind of fell together. So really happy with that. As I say, there are obvious bits where I'm going to need some filler. Some of this will be hidden under the tank and stuff, but nothing that's worrying or concerning me as yet. It all seems quite good. So yeah. So as I say, if you want to carry on watching the build and you're not already subscribed, then the button's down here. I'm currently at 499 subscribers as I write this. So getting over the line to the 500th would be really good. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and hopefully see you next week with a bit more progress.